Nick, what did you learn about your football team in your opener last week?
I learned we're young. And inexperience, does show itself. We've got a ways to go still in terms of finishing plays, finishing the game. I don't know if we handled the extended halftime, as I call it, with the rain delay, the lightning delay. I don't know if we handled that as well as we could have. We've got some areas of focus that we need to kind of redouble our efforts on. I think that in the end, I know we're better. I think we need to show that we're better. And I think it's a matter of believing that truth and getting the guys to understand that we're better together. We're better when we work together, when we're in unison, we have that one common goal. We had too many mistakes. I make no excuses about it. Wilmington beat us handily, but we also beat ourselves some too. And so bobbled snaps, drop passes, things of that nature, a lot of missed tackles. We've redoubled our efforts on that. As these things creep back in, you want to ensure that you're correcting them. You want to ensure that the guys are learning to take ownership of this opportunity, that they're learning to do their best in all their efforts with what they're doing, and to make sure that they understand that it's for real. They have a scoreboard for a reason, and they play for keeps too, and their kids were well prepared. They were well coached, and they came out and they battled us all the way to the end, and took us a while to get things going.
With so many young players, how difficult is that to establish that at the collegiate level it's a lot different than maybe at the high school level?
With this many young players, the thing is the mentality of what happens. In high school, your day's very structured, correct? I mean, you get up, you go to homeroom, you have these classes, you have lunch, you have these classes, and then you have a few minutes to either work out, get yourself prepared, or have practice. You have practice on these days at this time every single day. You don't technically share your field with other programs or teams, and so your schedule has a very set rhythm to it. In college, you're responsible for your own schedule. There may be a Wednesday you don't have class, all right? And so it's on you to take care of you and be in your best interest and be your best self. We have alternating practice schedules, other programs and teams that utilize that facility. And so it's on all those student athletes from all those programs and teams to work well within that schedule and prepare themselves. I think having young kids getting shifted to that idea is somewhat difficult and a bit of a transition, but the best players and the best coaches are able to make it happen.
You have a freshman quarterback. Talk about his play. You saw some good things. You saw some things, too, that I'm sure that, as you say, he's got to learn to develop at the collegiate level.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him is understanding that a lot's going to fall on him, and it's going to fall on him right away. And he's in constant competition for that position every single down, every single play. We don't say that to stress him out or add pressure, but to give him the truth of the reality. That's what it is. That's the hardest job in all football is playing quarterback, because you've got to own the whole thing and you've got to run the whole thing. He showed some extreme athleticism on a few plays, but he also showed this is my first year in a college game, my first time playing college on a few plays too. So I'm confident in him. I trust him. He's a good young man. His backup right now, Joe Enright, is a really good kind of assistant coach, but also a great competitor and is pushing him every day in practice. And some good things are going to come out of that for both those guys.
Well, Joe also, when he came in, he led you to a drive that eventually got you a score as well. Do you look at that? And, again, that's all about competition as well, because Joe's going to come in there and do what he needs to do. Were you pleased with his play?
Oh, absolutely. There were some things early in his first couple of series that he had when he came in that weren't as what we expected to be good, but the last one he had there where he kind of pushed the team, had a drive, fantastic. We know what he can do, and I trust him implicitly and understand that. And I see him pushing for that position. I don't think he's backed down in any way. He's handled it the right way. If I could take a moment here, that's a real champion of a young man if you've never met Joe Enright, one of the finest individuals to ever come through this college. So I'm pleased with how he's handling everything, how he's coaching Colin, how he's coaching the offense, and helping Coach Southall and doing his best. And it's a competition. He's breathing down his neck, and that's good. It's good for both those guys.
Will you hesitate at all to use him in Saturday's game if need be, if it comes to that?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. No hesitation. Both guys know that. They know that every week it's a battle for that job. And I'd like to have that in other positions, to be honest with you. And so that's our goal with recruiting as we go through too. So
a young guy at running back who I thought played very well for you, and tell you what, this guy could be real special in the next 4 years.
Oh, yeah. Melvin Davis is a really good athlete and does a great job for us back there, works really hard, takes serious what he's doing. Yeah, he's a kind of a shining star in that group. But a lot of our first years are shining stars, and that's why they're getting opportunities. And every guy we bring in here from their first year through their fourth year, they understand the nature of the beast and what's required of them and what we want to try to accomplish. And so all those guys are working hard. We just need to work harder. Pleased with Melvin. Look for him to do some more good things for us.
Will you put a little more, of course, depending on how the game goes throughout the afternoon, do you anticipate you'll maybe make his workload a little bit more?
I don't know if his workload will be more or less. All those guys on offense want to be fed the ball, even the offensive line, it seems like. So, but we like to utilize him. If it ain't broke, we ain't going to try to fix it. I'll tell you that right now. So, if we're able to establish some type of running game, I know they've got a really strong defensive line, a tough front seven. They've got some good players this week at HIRAM with, Alec Eldridge and Chris Chester up front, coming off the edge. So, they're going to be tough to beat. So we're going to have our A game, and if Melvin's involved in that contingency, we want to make sure that he gets going north and south well and can affect what they do to allow for us to do some of the other things we need to do with some of our other young guys in the perimeter.
You mentioned the offensive line. Talk a little bit about their play. You've got some new players there as well, and there were some breakdowns. Certainly when you have 5 guys that maybe haven't played together before, what do you see an improvement this week?
What I've seen this week is I've seen them do a better job with false steps. I've seen them really make an emphasis on pad level, using their hands the correct way. We've done some work with stamina and conditioning to ensure that they can keep going through. A college football game's a little bit longer than some people expect. The older guys there are really stepping up and growing into their own. I just think if we can be consistently consistent with what we're doing, I think that area of our offense will really help to make things go.
Now, you mentioned the defense, and there were some missed tackles and some missed opportunities, and that's something you said that is a little more of an emphasis this week. Talk about that. What do you try to do to shore it up against HIRAM?
Coach Lee had a really good game plan last week. Just weren't able to affect it because of some of our own mistakes and players taking bad angles. So we worked really hard this week on angles and leverage and understanding where the ball goes. Younger guys in newer positions, a lot of times in high school they're told just go get ball. Well, in college they find that out real fast. And when you have people that are working on it all week, they know where your holes are and they'll go after them. And I think Wilmington did a really good job of isolating those areas and just kind of using us against us and some of that inexperience. And we've got to not back down from that. We've got to stand in there and go against that. And I thought our defensive staff did a really good job this week of addressing the idea of communication, understanding alignments, what we're seeing, and then angles versus play.
Coach, a HIRAM football team lost their opener, yet at the same time they have a lot of pretty good players back from a year ago. I believe they have even plus 40 letter winners and several starters. What did you see in them in game number 1? Talk about their weapons and certainly what kind of game you expect on Saturday.
Well, I didn't see anything I didn't expect to see. Coach Stanford does a great job over there. He's a guy that I really look to as to how to get it done. He's an excellent coach. They're explosive. They have a lot of athletes, and they have a lot of try-hard guys. They give a lot of effort. They go fast. They hit hard. They play well. Their quarterback, Randy Tucker, is a good player. And he can keep a team in a game, and he can pull a team through a game, And Isaiah Jones does a great job as a great athlete for them. He's a guy we have to watch out for and make sure that we kind of keep bottled up. Otherwise, it's going to be a long weekend for us. One person I think is pretty as exciting is Mo Yarborough. He's got some athleticism and is a character that we're going to have to really work to keep out of our hair, so to speak. So they've got some weapons, they've got some explosiveness, but they also have a lot of grit and determination. So if we can match that level of grit and determination, we'll make that a good football game. Otherwise, it's going to be a long weekend. And I've warned our guys that focusing and finishing has to be the key. Ownership of the opportunity has to be the key. If we're not going to step up to this tremendous challenge, it's going to step on us, and we can't have that.
And they were very balanced, too. I think it was even both sides in running and passing this past weekend.
Yeah, I think they strive to be balanced. I think last year they were able to do more of a pass game against us in terms of, how their scheme was working with what we were showing them, and they took advantage of some things in our secondary and stayed ahead in the game long enough to keep us out of it. So I expect this weekend to see more of a balance. I expect this weekend to see them try to grind it out on us and also try to get those quick hits as well as deep shots. So offensively. Defensively, they're going to come after us. They're going to try to man us up and make our weapons beat them and hope that we can't, and they're going to come after us, and they're going to put a lot of pressure and duress on a freshman quarterback. It's definitely what I would do. And so this will be a difficult challenge, and our team knows that, our staff knows that, and our program knows that. But I look forward to the challenge, and I'd like to steal something from Oberlin's head coach as we were talking about having limited roster and different recruitment opportunities. If it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And we've got to make some changes here at Earlham College, and I think this is the right type of challenge for our program at this point, this juncture where we're at with injuries, numbers, people. We can throw all the excuses out the window. At some point, you got to stand in there, you got to play the game, and you got to play it to the best of your ability. And the one who wins will be the one who did that the best.